Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to share with you two simple words that will define your life. Two simple words that will define your life. You see, words are so important, right? That's how we communicate with other human beings. It's how we express ourselves. However, there's two words that will, really simple words that will really change more than maybe every other word. These are the two words: yes and no. See, it really matters what you say yes to, and it really matters what we say no to. Our yeses and our nos show us what our life culminates into. It shows us the direction that we go in our lives. So let me share a few things with you today. Number one, no one else is going to say your yes and your no for you. See, so I'm almost 30. And you know what? Sometimes being an adult is, it's awesome and it's scary at the same time. It is awesome because you have more independence and you get to make your own decisions. And it's scary because you have more independence and you get to make your own decisions. And so no one is going to say your yes or your no for you. How you live your life is totally up to you. It's your responsibility. No one else can decide for you. And so you decide what you say yes to. And you say what you decide to say no to, how you spend your time, your habits, who you spend time with. Hopefully if you have grown up and you're out of the house, your parents are no longer telling you what food to eat, what time to go to bed, how to make all your decisions. And so maybe it's time for us to learn how to adult. And one of those basic starting points is learning how to say yes and how to say no. No one else say your yes and your no for you. And as well, it's all about the little decisions. I think the little decisions of just the day-to-day stuff affect us more than we even realize. Mark Batterson is a pastor across in Washington. He tweeted that, show me your habits and I'll show you your future. Our lives are lived one day at a time. And I think it's inbuilt into us that we are creatures of habit and routine. Whether we realize it or not, whether we like that kind of thing, I think that we are. And so the more constant we are and we can be with good habits, then the more that we grow into the person that we want to be. In the Bible, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, Jesus encouraged us to be consistent. He said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. The more times that you say yes to something, the easier it becomes next time to say yes to it. That's how habits are formed. We keep saying yes to those things. And we see things, maybe an example drastically is that, we often see that in the wrong things. When we say yes to the wrong things consistently, it grows and it grows. You don't have to look far on the internet or news or wherever, and you see some sort of scandal by a politician or celebrity or whatever, and we're sometimes shocked by how fallible our leaders and heroes and how can they make such crazy decisions. But we don't really have the insight into their private lives. And I think if you did, you may not be surprised by some of the things that comes along. Some of these big things are actually little compromises, little concessions along the way, and they lead to bigger and bigger compromises. An affair doesn't happen suddenly in a healthy marriage. There are issues beforehand. There's maybe breakdown in communication. There's maybe pornography addiction. Maybe there's flirting with coworkers. Those kinds of things. Maybe they seem small, but actually it leads to something bigger as well. And so, compromise happens in these small decisions, and it snowballs into something that's out of our control. In reality, the control has been lost in those small decisions. The little things in our lives will become the big things. And so maybe the biggest decisions we make are the little decisions that we make every day. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to know how to say yes to the right things. We need to know our priorities and decide then accordingly how we say yes to things and what we should say no to. To decide what we say yes to, we must define our goals and our vision. For example, if your goal is to lose weight, and then we need to say yes to exercise, we say yes to healthy foods, and we say no to unhealthy foods and laziness. But we need to do that consistently, not just in a one-off for a day or even for a week, but consistently to see our vision, our goals accomplished. And so if you have values and you have your priorities set, then they will serve as guidelines for making decisions. For an athlete, if he's or she's going to be competing in the Olympics, their aim is to get gold. That's the vision, to get gold, to be the best at their sport, at track, at swimming, whatever it is. But they need to say yes to other things. They need to say yes to the little things. They need to say yes each day to training. There's 4 years in between Olympics. They're not going to just turn up at Olympics without training. So they need to say yes to their regime every day. They need to say yes to sleep. They need to say yes to healthy and nutritional food. They need to say yes for getting up early. But they also need to say no to nights out late at night. They need to say no to takeaways. They need to say no to these things that are not going to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish. And so it requires discipline to say yes and say no. But it's not just discipline for the sake of discipline. It's actually for a higher purpose. It's for a greater vision that's at work. And so if you're going to say yes to something, then count the cost, because it probably means saying no to something else. And so, after all, even though we try it, we can't do everything. We can't say yes to everything. So we have to choose what to say yes to, and we have to choose what to say no to. Don't do it by accident. Be intentional about your decisions, even the little ones, every day. And so, maybe like me, you want to maybe change a few things in your life. You want to change everything in your life. But before you start getting overwhelmed and try and tackle everything, let's start with one thing. Think about the person you want to be in 6 months' time. In 6 months' time, what's the type of person you want to be? And then on the back of that, choose one thing to say yes to and one thing to say no to. And so, what's one thing that you want to start this month? What do you want to say yes to this month? Maybe it's a habit to start, or maybe it's an attitude to form or grow, or maybe it's something new to try. Just towards the end of 2018 now, I noticed that maybe a lot of my thinking was negative. I was becoming quite cynical, quite judgmental. I started to believe the worst about situations, the worst about people. And I recognize that's not a good thing in my heart and in what that should be. Cynicism is not a good look at anyone. So I decided to aim towards becoming a more grateful and hopeful person. And so what I started saying yes to is that every night before bed, I would start writing down 3 things that I was thankful for that day. 3 things that I was thankful for that day. It's a manageable habit, and one I could start saying yes to today in that moment to help me become the type of person that I wanted to become. And so maybe for you, you're watching this, think about one thing that you could start saying yes to. And secondly, what's one thing you'd like to say no to this month? What would you like to stop this month? We can't say yes to everything. We have limited capacity. And so maybe you need to start by saying no to saying yes to everything. Or maybe there's an unhealthy habit you want to stop, or an attitude to change. Josh Billings, who's a journalist, said half of the troubles of this life can be traced to saying yes too quickly and not saying no soon enough. Wisdom indeed. And so I know what, for me, naturally I find it harder to say no. I'd much rather say yes to things. And so, this year I'm putting this into practice. And so on Saturdays, I'm saying no to social media. Saturday's my day off. And so I disconnect on a Friday, reconnect on a Sunday, delete the apps on my phone, install them again on a Sunday morning. It takes 2 minutes to do that. But it means that I'm not looking at social media all day on my day off, when actually that's a time to rest. That's a time to do things that are life-giving. And so I want to choose to use my time well, and so that's my goal. And so that's an achievable thing, something that I'm saying no to help me become that type of person. And so sometimes when we say yes to things and no to things, we don't see the impact of that in the day or the week or even the month. It might take a few months or even sometimes even a few years, but you'll never regret saying yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. It is so worth it. So you know what? Start today. And I've learned so much from others on this subject, and so thanks, and recommendations for reading a book called Essentialism by Craig McKeown. Essentialism, and also the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. There's a couple of episodes he does on YouTube and podcast called 6 Steps to Your Best Year of Leadership. Really helpful about learning how to say yes and how to say no. Really important decisions, really important words for us to use. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You know what? Love to hear from you. Drop me a message. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter @DanEverett90. Let me know, what are you going to say yes to? Or what are you going to say no to? Leave a comment. Like, share if you found this encouraging or helpful. Let people know about it. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.